Hi guys, and welcome to this extra lesson. I appreciate I haven't told anybody about this one because of the issues that we had the other day. So when we were doing the lesson on Thursday, there was some audio problems, so I thought probably the easiest thing is just to re-record this lesson, or approximately the same anyway. So I'll keep up the lesson that we did from last Thursday, so you'll still have access to that, and then this will just be much the same kind of thing, you know, give or take a few bits and pieces, and hopefully with better audio that's not cutting in and out. So yeah, like I say, it's going to be much the same again. So usual kind of things when you're watching this, just try and remember to turn off any emails, social media, or anything like that. Put your phone on silent. So when you're watching back, and even if it's just for practice, you're getting that dedicated half an hour. So right, without further ado, we will crack straight on. So I'm going to go over the string tuning first of all. So here is our top E string. So yeah, make sure your string sounds like that. If it doesn't, obviously you just adjust the pegs a little bit until it does. Okay, and then this is B. And then G. And then we come down to D. And then onto our fifth string, which is A. And then finally down to our bottom E string. Okay, jolly good. So as you would know from Thursday, if you have watched that lesson or if you are on the live stream, primarily we're going to go back over a couple of exercises from earlier in the book. So I did sort of surprise this on you the other day. It's really just to kind of get back in the zone after having had a few weeks off for Easter. And then we'll go back over exercises 22 and 23, which are the main new ones that we covered from the last lesson that we had, and finally get onto something new as well. So today is pretty much a recap really, but there should be something new as well. So good. So right, what we're going to do is start off with exercise 10, the Triumph, and that is on page 10. So the things to watch out for here, we've got the notes G and A. They're the only two notes we've got. So G being our open string, A being at the 2nd fret, and it starts off just sort of a kind of leisurely G to A, and then it starts changing a little bit quicker, and then a little bit quicker again. So good luck with it. We are not going to do the repeat this time because we're just going back over things. So this one, we are going to start from the beginning, go to the end of the second line, and then stop. And that's going to be our recap. So, okay, so good luck if you're watching this, and after 4. Okay, so 3, 4. Quavers. Two, 3, 4, and then we're going to stop there. As I mentioned, you would, if you were playing along with the track, do the repeats, but for today's purposes, we're not going to do that. So the next one then we talked about covering was exercise 13, which is Gypsy Prince. That's on page 12. So we've got the notes E, C and B. I think that's all. Again, we're not going to do the repeats. We do have some dynamics in here to think about. So depending on how you've progressed, feel free to add them in. But don't worry, if not, my usual focus when I'm teaching is to try and make sure you're getting the notes and the timing. You know, dynamics is the icing on the cake, really. So don't get me wrong, we do want to add that in when we're confident, but we want to make sure the notes and the timing are correct first. So let's have a go then at number 13. So after 4, okay, so 3, 4. The second line, two, 3, 4, and again you would repeat if you were doing the whole exercise and with the backing tracks and everything, but we're going to leave that one there for today. So hopefully that's all gone well. As always, give yourself a pat on the back if it has. You know, we want to acknowledge everything that's going well, you know, because when we're playing music it's very easy to focus on what hasn't gone well, and so yeah, acknowledge what has gone well as well. It's a really important thing to do, I think. So okay, so let's move on then. So the next one we were trying was number 17, which is Breezy Boardwalk. And so this one, we've got the D, I was going to say new note D, but obviously we played it before, so hopefully it's not too new anymore. So D is the second string at the 3rd fret, and we're going to use our 3rd finger. And I'm just going to move back a little bit so you can see my guitar better. Yeah, we'll just change between the notes D and B. So again, we're not going to bother with the repeat, just play it through once. Add the dynamics in if you like, but no worries if not. Okay, so here we go. So starting on the D after 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. D, D, rest. D, D, rest. D, 2, D, rest. D, 2, 3, 4. D, 2, D, rest. D, 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 2, 3, 4. Okay, good stuff. Yeah, just sort of, that's where we're at with it really. So we're ignoring a repeat. Hopefully that all went well. I think one of the things I may have covered actually the other day was a 6-note recap. So apologies I forgot to do that today. Hopefully you're all right with that, and hopefully these exercises are going well. But if you if you're struggling with anything and trying to keep up and going, oh, what's that note there? Having a look at the 6-note recap on page 15 would obviously be a good idea. And yeah, that's the latest note recap that we've got to. So we are going to move on, and we are going to go on to exercise 20, which is Annie's Blues on page 17. So this one has a mixture of notes in terms of timing and also the notes themselves. So we've got A's and B's and D's and C's, I think. I think that's pretty much it. Crotchets, quavers, and a semi-breve at the end. Remember, a semi-breve is the one that lasts for 4 beats. So we're again going to ignore the repeat, so we'll just play all the way through from bars 1 to 13 without repeating. So let's give it a go together and see how we get on. So starting on beat 1, exercise 20. Good luck everybody, and here we go. Okay, so 3, 4. A, A, A. 3 and 4. Okay, so I say hopefully that all went well for everybody. So we're just going to move on. I think I mentioned the other day as well, if you find I'm demonstrating any of these tracks too quickly or anything like that, you'd like me to play them slower, do just let me know, drop a message in the chat in one of the lessons and I can slow them up. Or if there's any we've played, you know, like, oh, do you know, like, could you go over that one a bit slower, even if it's an exercise from a few weeks back or whatever, that, you know, that's also fine. So, okay. So we are going to move onwards again then. So that's basically a recap of various bits and pieces that we've covered over the past 10 weeks now. This is week 11, obviously. So in week 10, the two new exercises that we looked at were exercises 22 and 23. So we're going to spend just a little bit more time on those ones now, make sure we do the full repeats and that kind of thing. Before getting on to something new. So, looking at exercise 22 on page 18, it's the same set of notes. So all the notes we've learned so far have been G, A, B, C, D and E. So that's our range of notes. Hopefully you're okay with those. If not, obviously just go back and refresh your memory on any that you're a bit unsure about. So as we get to 22 then, what the kind of the key thing to watch out for is that rest on beat 1 at the start, and it's pretty much all the, in fact, all the odd bars apart from bar 9. So as we count in, it'll be 3, 4, rest, and then we come in with the notes. So we'll give it a go now. We'll do all the repeats. So with this particular one, we're going to play the first line twice because we've got the repeat mark at the end of the line, and then as we come on to the second line we're going to play bars 5 to 8, and then we play them a second time because we've also got the repeat marks there. In fact, if I just show you quickly, hopefully that's going to load up. So yeah, just coming back here. So the repeat marks I'm talking about, so we've got this repeat mark at the end of the first line, which means we come back to the beginning, play it again, and then here when we come down we've got this sort of open bracket repeat here and the closed brackets here. At least that's how I kind of think of it, it's like brackets anyway. So when we get to this point here, we see the repeat mark, and that means we go back until we see the sort of mirror image of it, if you like, which we've got here. If you didn't have anything like this here, then it would suggest you go back to the beginning. But obviously we've got this other repeat here, so we can't sort of go back and write over that, if you like. So we would always need this other one here. So again, hopefully that kind of makes sense. So coming back to the tune then, we'll play it together, doing all the repeats as I said. I'll count in. Try the dynamics if you want, don't worry about them if not, and yeah, just watch out for that rest on beat 1. So here we go. Okay, so 3, 4, rest. Rest. 2. Back to the beginning, rest. 2, rest. 2, rest. Onto the second line. Rest. Back to the beginning of that line, rest. Rest. Carry on to rest. Okay, good. So hopefully that made sense to you. If in doubt, you can listen to the track and that kind of thing, just to sort of revisit things and make sure it's all making sense. Obviously, if it isn't making sense, do feel free to ask. That's why we've got the live chat here when we're doing the live streams. So, okay, so one of the other things I meant to do at the beginning of today, I think I did this on Thursday, but the audio probably wasn't working at that point. And that was just to recap the chords that we've learned already as well, before we go on to number 23. So we'll do that now. So we're going to start with our E minor chord. So this was the first one we looked at. So E minor is the middle finger on the 5th string at the 2nd fret, and then our 3rd finger on the 4th string at the 2nd fret. So we want to try and get them close to that fret wire, which is the metal bit of wire going across the fretboard there. And you've got to appreciate that you're probably not going to end up quite like that, but just sort of as close as we can get to give us a nice clear sound. So those are the notes I'm pushing down at on the 5th string and the 4th string. So yeah, just try and make sure they're nice and clear. On this particular chord, watch out for the 3rd string as well. So if I angle my guitar around a little bit, I don't even see that really, but if our fingers are a little bit like that, then we might catch the 3rd string, whereas if we bring them back up onto the fingertip, I can't really get a good angle here, I'm afraid, but I can't get my other, maybe that helps. So you can see like there's that big sort of tunnel area coming through here. So fingers up on fingertips, not sort of slouching down as it were like that, and then we strum. So after 4, everybody, we're just going to strum it a couple of times. Okay, so 3, 4, and strum, 2, and again. Okay, and that's our E minor chord. Hopefully all nice and clear. We're strumming all the strings. I forgot to mention that, so that's hopefully something you've remembered. Yeah, so to get to E major, we then add our 1st finger to the 3rd string at the 1st fret. And again, we want all these notes to be nice and clear. So just make sure you're up on the fingertips, not allowing the fingers to slouch down like that. You should get this nice kind of gap through sort of between the fingers and the fretboard as well. Again, if you're quite tight like that, you might find you sort of get strange noises on the 1st string. So that's like almost like pinching the palm of your hand up against the fretboard. So we want to try and avoid that if we can. Okay, so that's our E major chord. So let's try and strum it together then. So after 4, a couple of times. So 3, 4, and strum, 2, and strum again. Okay, jolly good. Now to get to A minor, we're going to take this shape and we're going to move all our fingers 1 string to the floor. And what we want to try and do is move them as a block or a unit, and they all just drop into place. That's our plan, that's our target. If you find you can't do that and you have to move them sort of one at a time, that's okay for now. Ultimately, we want to get used to remembering these shapes so you can just kind of drop in and out of them without really thinking about it too much. That takes time, and eventually the muscle memory kind of kicks in and that kind of thing. So if you're finding it challenging at the moment, don't worry too much. You will get there with it. It does take a little bit of time usually. Remember as well, you're moving like 3 fingers at once rather than just single note stuff like we're doing in the other exercises. So you might find you can do, say for example, you can play number 22 really well and you struggle with the chords on 23. That's fine. It's moving between these chord shapes is a bit more challenging at this stage. But the thing to remember is that that's always going to be an E chord, and that's always going to be an A minor chord. So once you've learned these, you basically know them for life, kind of thing. So and there are other ways we can play them, of course, but this is always it's a default for so many people. And if you go and watch people playing in pubs or wherever, and you'll see them playing these kind of chords, and they might have learnt them 30 years ago or more, but they're still the same. So that's the beauty of it, really. So okay, so let's give it a go. So I'm going to start on the E chords, changing to the A minor in number 23. This is just to recap the structure of it. So it's the same as 22. So we're going to play the first line twice, and then we go on to the second line, we play bars 5 to 8 twice, and then we finish off with bar 9. Just do the best you can with it. If you find on the second line that strumming on beats 1 and 3 isn't giving you enough time to get to the A minor, obviously keep practicing it. You know, that's why we're here really. But you can for today, and yeah, when you're watching this video, just do the single strum again on the second line, like you're doing on the first line. So, okay. So let's give it a go then. So after 4, starting on our E major chords, so fingers in position, middle finger 5th string 2nd, 3rd finger 4th string 2nd, and 1st finger 3rd string 1st. Let's take it away. So here we go. So 3, 4, and strum, 2, 3, 4, and then we change to A minor, 2, 3, 4, back to E, 2, 3, 4, and A minor, 2, 3, 4, and then we repeat that line, 2, 3, 4, and A minor again, 3, 4, back to E again, 2, 3, 4, A minor, 2, 3, 4, then the second line, strum it twice, we go again, and then on to A minor, 1, 2, 3, 4, back to E, 2, 3, 4, then on to A minor, 2, 3, 4, then we're going to repeat, so back to the beginning of bar 5 from the E chord, on to A minor, 2, 3, 4, E again, 2, 3, 4, A minor again, 2, 3, and then the final bar back onto E, 2, 3, and then cut the sound off. So, I think I may have mentioned this the other day, but when you come to do that final bar, whether you cut the sound off or not, the music says to do that, that's how I've written it, but you know, when you're playing songs, particularly if you're playing them 2 people playing live, letting that chord ring on can just sort of finish a song really nicely. So, so yeah, that's something to think about. So, that was sort of the end of our recap of everything we've covered to date. So we're now going to move on, and we talked about, we only covered one exercise actually the other day, which was number 24. So we're going to have a go at that one now. And we've got another new note, which is the note F, and this is the 1st string 1st fret. So we're going to use our 1st finger, remembering that when we're playing, we're going like 1 finger per fret kind of thing. That's our target, or our logic, you know, to start off with anyway. So 1st string 1st fret, we're going to use our 1st finger, we're going to come up towards the fret wire. We don't want to be down here, particularly at the 1st fret. You have to push really hard to get the note out, otherwise you get that kind of sound. So that's if you're pushing right up by the nuts, by the way. And this white bit here, it's not always white. I've seen black ones, possibly brown ones as well, I'm not sure. But yeah, it's the bit at the end of the fretboard where the strings go over. So you don't want to be close to that, we want to be up against the fret wire. Okay, so let's all play that F together then. Okay, so 3, 4. Okay, so if you played that note and it sounded different for any reason, you either have maybe plucked the wrong string, or your fingers landed at the wrong fret, or possibly your string isn't in tune. So if it sounded different for any reason, just go back and double check a couple of things, including the tuning, because that could be an issue. So that is the note F. So F is where it sort of runs through the top line of the stave. So looking at number 24, it's just a one-line one this time. So we have got the repeat, so we'll play it twice. First 2 bars are quiet and the second 2 bars are louder. So as always, you know, include the dynamics, the louds and the softs, that is, if you want to, but don't worry if you feel that it's not quite, not quite there yet. So, okay, so I'll play it through just once, sort of saying the notes and counting the time and that kind of thing, and then we'll put the backing track on in just a second. Okay, so here we go. Feel free to join in after 4. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4. E, E, F, F, D, E, F, rest. F, F, D, F, F, D, rest. And back again. Rest. Rest. Okay, so that's our tune. So what I'm going to do is pop that backing track on. Just for you to listen to it. It's number 24. Let me just make sure we have this all lined up and on the right page as well. So I will, as before, point the mouse or cursor at the notes we're going to be playing. So hope you enjoy it. And here we go. Okay, jolly good. So hopefully that has all come through nice and clearly. And that was pretty much where we got up to on Thursday. So obviously we were having a few technical issues. I think most of the lesson came out okay. It was just the very start and the very end for some reason. So fingers crossed today has gone a lot smoother. So just to recap then, things that we want to be practicing. So I would suggest we keep going with 22 and 23, just a little bit longer, just to kind of make sure you're totally on top of those, particularly the chord changes as discussed. You know, they are a bit more challenging, so just do your best with those. Then obviously the new note F and exercise 24, you know, that they would be, well, that is the main new content to take away from today. So hopefully that's gone a lot better than Thursday. I will, as I mentioned, I will leave Thursday's lesson up anyway, so, you know, because if that's the one you watched, you might find there was something I said in that was particularly helpful or whatever, but otherwise, you know, obviously feel free to watch this one. Other things to think about, so if you're watching this, please give it a thumbs up. That always helps. Always nice to know you've enjoyed the content. And next week we will be back on Thursday. Hopefully all the audio working again properly. We'll push on a little bit further. We'll go on to exercise 25 and a little bit beyond that as well. And so I think that's pretty much it really. So best of luck with the practice, and you know, just try and keep it up really. It's 4 or 5 times a week is your target. I mean, every day really is perfect, but appreciate that's not always possible. So yeah, 4 or 5 times a week, you'll find you make good progress if you do that. So okay, so we will finish up there. Best luck with the practice, and I look forward to seeing you all again on Thursday. All right, take care then. Bye bye.